Dumelang kagaye, and welcome to Services SETA's podcast, Level Up, where we ensure that you get involved and get in touch with all the necessary tools and resources you need to ensure that you develop yourself and grow. Now, today we are giving you an intro. All the things that you need to know as to why this podcast has been set up and the importance of ensuring that you get involved. Now, today's guest is someone that's able to give us the top to bottom of why this podcast was started and some of the things that you are going to be able to learn throughout the rollout of all the sessions we're going to have. He's an extremely important person, and he's the official administrator, one of 3 administrators for Services SETA. He joins us today. He is Mr. Lehlogonolo Masoga. Thank you so much for your time and for joining us on the Level Up podcast.
Thanks, madam, and it's a great pleasure to be here.
Such a pleasure. I mean, let's talk about, the Level Up podcast, getting involved. Why was it that Services SETA decided to embark on starting something like this?
In Services SETA, we break in new grounds, bringing the services to the people using different mode of communication. Podcast is not something quite common in government, so we break in new grounds with the pioneers. So we want to open up to the public and be transparent and give access to the public to what we offer. And we're very excited about this opportunity. And we think, indeed, people must get involved and level up.
Yeah. And I mean, when I look at a podcast, it's normally youth geared, right? Because we are the ones that are chronically online. We are the ones that are kind of consuming all of this. Who are you trying to target by making this and, spreading all this information through a podcast?
We work with a broad variety of stakeholders, but our primary beneficiaries is mainly young people, learners, university students, college students, even kids who are still at high school who are aspiring to join the university or the colleges. So these are the constituency that we're targeting, hence we're using the medium that will really sync well with them.
And I mean, you mentioned earlier that, we are focusing on the youth and getting them involved. What are some of the gaps that you're trying to fill? Because, I mean, there's many issues that we experience in South Africa on a daily basis: high unemployment, lack of opportunity, lack of resources, lack of service delivery. But when it comes to, the podcast in itself, what were you trying to fill when it comes to the gaps that already exist?
South Africa, like many other countries, we live in the era of lack of this, lack of that. But nobody ever gets to talk what is there.
Yeah.
Ever since 1994, when we have the new government, a lot of things have happened in this country. One of the major gaps that our government has is communicating, especially the successes. There are no good platforms to tell the good story. All we hear is about lack of this, lack of that, lack of this, lack of that. So over and above that, we want to open new avenues to communicate opportunities to these constituencies that we're targeting. We're not only looking at youth, we work with employers, we work with civil society, we work with labor, we work with all sorts of organized formations in the country. However, we want to use the medium that is the best one that can really, especially the youth can relate with, and we think the podcast is the best platform for us to utilize over and above other communication platforms, including social media, which we're very much present in that space. And as you would know, that this content will be fit into that platform and will reach out to the real constituency.
Yeah. Do you watch podcasts?
Of course I do.
Do you? Okay. What type of content do you kind of gravitate towards? Just when in your spare time?
Current affairs.
Is it?
Breaking news.
Oh, wow. But you do that on a daily basis. Don't you want an escape?
There are stories that really captures the imagination of the whole country. So half the time, certain people of interest are invited to podcasts to communicate messages. Those are the kind of stuff I like.
Okay, that's interesting. Now I want to talk about you a little bit, Mr. Lehlogonolo Masoga, Administrator at Services SETA. What does that title mean? To kind of, take us through your day-to-day or a day in the life of Mr. Masoga, maybe.
That's a good question, because many people, when you say you're an administrator, they think you are some clerk that runs around with papers to photocopy,
Yeah.
But administrator basically finds this expression in the National Skills Act.
Okay.
It's a mechanism that is utilized in the Act to provide for the intervention in the absence of a board. Basically, the administrator is a one-man board.
Okay.
So it is provided for in the Act, so that in an event that a SETA was to experience particular challenges, especially governance challenges, Then the minister, through a gazette, appoints an administrator to temporarily act as a board to fix certain challenges that may be there in the institutions, whilst also in the process of putting together the board. So that's what I do. Because the board, by its very nature, is not meant to be a full-time responsibility when you go to the office every day. But because you are an administrator, you effectively function like an executive chairman of the board, which is partially full-time, partially part-time. So that's what I do. I go to the office, I engage with stakeholders, I engage with internal teams so that we can sort out the challenges that the Service SETA is experiencing. And I think we're doing well so far.
So far. And I was going to ask, I mean, since your tenure started up until now, I'm sure you have seen some challenges that you've tried to, re-strategize or try turn around. Are you able to share perhaps some of those challenges and how, you as Mr. Masoga or as well as the other members have kind of turned that around?
Once the administration is announced, it automatically presupposes that there are issues. The issues, what are these issues? So as you arrive in an institution as an administrator, you'll have to do what we call a diagnosis, a deep dive assessment of what are the problems that prompted the administration. So the past couple of months I've been doing exactly that, engaging with the teams internally and externally, studying all sorts of reports, including the Auditor General's report, which says our SETA has not been performing well in terms of governance over the last 7 years. We have not succeeded to achieve a mere unqualified audit. Annual audit outcome is one of the instruments that is used to determine whether an institution is doing what it's supposed to do at the governance level. So it has become evident that the Service SETA was found wanting in that area, but also among the challenges that we have, which are contributing into the undesirable audit outcome, is the issue of what we call commitments. Commitments is a very complex thing to explain. It involves finances, it involves the contractual obligations that we have with third parties that is in excess of 3 billion rands. And that in itself, it's a problem because you cannot allow an institution to have commitments of that magnitude. So we're busy dealing with that problem. But again, the other challenge that I think the Service SETA needs to deal with is the issue of organizational culture. Organizational culture, it's about the way we do things. And on my arrival there, and upon discovering that for a period of 7 years, we have not been doing well. And the question is, why have we tolerated these challenges for such a long period? You know what that means? Is if you do one thing over and over again, it becomes your way of life. It becomes a culture. It becomes a pattern. So we're trying to break with that pattern of tolerating poor performance, tolerating poor results, so that we can change the culture and be driven by excellence, the aspiration to achieve excellent results. And I think we're beginning to gel with the team to accept that there is a problem that needs to be solved. Because that is the beginning of solving a problem, to accept that there is a problem. And I think we're there.
Okay. As long as we're past the denial phase.
Absolutely.
I think that'll lead us in the right direction. And I mean, these seem to be, internal issues. But if we take a look externally, outside of that, there also seems to be, issue when it comes to people knowing about the access to these opportunities. I think earlier on you mentioned, it's one thing to complain. It's one thing to say we have a shortage of this, there's a lack of this, but are you tapping into the opportunities? Are you getting involved? And I think that's one of the main focuses of this podcast, is to ensure that you level up and get involved with all the opportunities that we are going to be giving here. What can people look forward to when it comes to, this podcast and all the content that we're going to be rolling out over the next couple of weeks?
Actually, with this podcast, our fear is we will create more awareness. We will inform and educate many more people, so much that we will be seated with a problem. How do we meet the demand?
But those are nice problems to have. Those are very, very nice problems to have.
Because once people get to know what we do,
and
once we access these opportunities, it's a function of how many more can we accommodate. And that is our worst fear, because we provide quite wonderful opportunities for young people in this country, bursaries, training opportunities, internships, learnerships. And the fact of the matter is that what we can supply is quite little compared to the demand. And now that we're raising awareness, the issue is, what are we going to do with the demand that is coming our way?
Right. You seem to have, it all on board and understanding what the plan is. I want to talk to you just about balance. How do you balance, public demand, governance, ensuring that all of these are executed, as well as running an entity like Services SETA?
And I like it when you always bring governance into the equation. Entities do not exist for their own sake. They exist to serve a purpose. So you must have an institution that has got sound governance systems for the purpose of servicing the constituency, servicing the beneficiary. So you must strike a balance of saying, here is a fully functional institution that is efficient, that is effective, that promotes good corporate practice and culture. However, these solid institutions serves the purpose of meeting the demands of the people that it seeks to service. So you must strike a balance of having a quality institution, but that services the constituency. For example, you'll find an institution that achieves what we call clean audit. It performs well in terms of audit, but when you look at the results, there's nothing to show off.
Right.
And then you've got an institution that provides the best service, but it does not produce good results when coming to audit. So what is important to strike a balance, that there is proper corporate governance and proper service delivery, so that you can balance the two. And that's what we are about.
Yeah. And I mean, you have quite the experience in both governance, but just in the working world in general. And, times are consistently moving. What was expected of you back then to kind of secure a job or an opportunity is not the same now. With times consistently, adapting and changing, what advice would you give to our viewers in terms of being adaptable and in terms of being able to, keep up with the times and perhaps upskill yourself and develop yourself to, be fitting within that time period and how things are run in the workplace in that time?
The world of work has been changing at a very fast pace because of many factors, among them including technology, including the evolution of the economies of the world and our country in particular. The things that were relevant yesterday, today are no longer as relevant. So it is only fair, especially for the youth, to be adaptive in terms of learning new skills that will make them relevant and fit for purpose into the economy. And I'm saying this because in the past, you'll be a great man if you are a qualified teacher. You'll be a great woman in the community if you are a qualified nurse. Those kind of things.
The stereotypes.
But nowadays, things have changed. People work from home. They become millionaires sitting in the comfort of their couches because of technology. So we have to embrace technology. We have to embrace the new way of doing things. And this has to be embraced as opposed to it bringing anxiety amongst the youth. Because the truth of the matter is there are some people who especially us, the old crocs, my
1K and 0K.
So we very much have got some anxiety about technology because it challenges us. It disrupts our comfort zone. And we have to embrace living in the new reality wherein there's no longer a comfort zone. We live in the people in the academia and in the corporate world. They speak of the world of Vuca, a world defined by volatility, uncertainty, complexity. So this is the new world that we live in, and we must embrace it and appreciate it for what it is, because we'll not go back. We're going forward. Sure.
And it's scary, right? Because it's a leap of faith that I think the youth themselves are so stressed because it's a brand new world. But it's the same for, the older generation as well, because it's so fast changing that keeping up is becoming an issue. But when it comes to, your stakeholders, when it comes to luring them in to also believe in the dream of, spreading all this awareness, sharing opportunity, not gatekeeping, what would you say to the stakeholders, perhaps that, are reluctant to participate, or they even pay their skills levy but do nothing about it? What kind of a message would you give to them? And you can, of course, head over to that camera over there.
For sure. With regard to the stakeholders, they are the mainstay of
Yeah.
our success. We in the Services SETA, like any other SETA, we receive grants from employers who pays the levies. We use that levy to change the lives of the people by training the employees who works for these employer organizations, by training unemployed youth and all that. So the beauty about working with relationship is that it's a two-way relationship. They give us feedback, they tell us how to do things better. We service them the way we believe it is the right way to do it. And that kind of a relationship, it's very beneficial. And we believe in partnerships, because the work that we do, we can only rely on partners. For example, we don't do training ourselves,
Right.
but we've got the resources to give effect to training. We're not training specialists, but we make sure that there are training specialists that train people out there. We support them with the resources that we have. And we can only do that if we establish this partnership with the employers, partnership with the trainers, partnership with the industry that we service. We are one SETA that has got the biggest constituency in terms of the industries that we services, because service cuts across every single
single
industry.
sector, yeah.
You go to agriculture, you find services. You go to construction, you find services. ICT space services. Hospitality, so everything else that we do is services, and that's where we find expression, and that
Yeah.
is why we need partners that we can work with to do this work. And so far, we get a lot of ideas, including innovative ideas from our stakeholders, and it has been a very wonderful journey. And our intention is to strengthen that partnership, especially with the universities, the TVET colleges, and the community colleges, so that we can strengthen that partnership to use them as the medium through which we promote education and training.
Right. When I think government, I think, and this is probably unfortunate because it's a stereotype that's luring through everyone's mind, but when I think government, I think connection. I think, who do I know to get the opportunity? And I think that's, I won't say misconception, maybe you can debunk that. But I think just generally, it's always, okay, Obaraka government, who do you know? Or how do I get this opportunity through government? Oh, I don't know people. So when it comes to transparency, I'm curious to know, where is Services SETA fearing in terms of being transparent with the public, with the stakeholders, with all the companies about processes and how things are supposed to be run?
Transparency is one of our fundamental values as an institution. We subscribe to the notion of transparency because we serve the public. We don't serve our friends. We don't serve our own families. We come into with this concept of the podcast because we want to open up to ourselves to the public, so that we can inform and educate the public, but also have, allow the public to have access to all the opportunities that we offer transparently, so that people get these opportunities on the basis of their merits, not on the basis of who they know, whether they are friends of the administrator or what. We don't subscribe to that, because government is meant to serve the people. And government, when it looks at the people, it shouldn't see a color, it shouldn't see a race, it shouldn't see a neighbor, it shouldn't see a cousin. It should see the people. And that's what we're all about, promoting transparency. And we're doing it in action. We don't just say it. Hence, we are here talking to the public and say to the public, here we are. We're opening ourselves up to scrutiny.
Okay. The door's open. So if you have any questions, any queries, any advice that you would like, or perhaps don't know what channels to follow, please head over to our website to be able to get all the nuggets that you need. The door's open. You don't know when the door's going to close, so I would hurry over to make sure just you get all of that. And of course, stay glued to the Level Up podcast, where you can ensure you get involved with all this information. This is just the tip of the iceberg. We're going to be talking to many more stakeholders throughout. Before we let you go, I want to talk impact, because I hear you say all these things. I hear you say, you're here to service the people. Just in terms of how far you've gone so far, let's talk about some of the impact that you've made, and maybe some of your favorite success stories that you guys have come out with.
Since the establishment of the Services SETA in the early 2000s, we have invested billions of rands in the economy, in changing the lives of our people. We don't just provide training. We touch lives. We change lives. There are many people today who are successful people because of our involvement and intervention. through the work that we do in supporting them, providing bursaries, providing workplace learning and all that. We currently conducting a comprehensive a study about the impact of the work that the Service SETA has been doing in the last 25 years. Because we want to speak facts and I want to speak science to the people and say to the people, over the last 25 years, this is the amount of rents and cents that we have invested in transforming the lives of our people. These are the number of graduates we have produced. These are the number of bursaries we have offered. These are the interns we have trained. These are the learners we have trained, so that we can speak science and facts and put them out there in the public transparently, so to say, this is our story. And I can tell you that it's going to be a good story to tell. And we're looking forward to do that. Very soon, early next year, we will be announcing our plans to launch that report once it gets completed. And we want to launch it publicly, so that the public can know that when we say Service SETA touches lives, what do we mean? There are people, of course, in the public space who are hold a strong view that SETAs do not serve the purpose. And they say so because they lack the information. They don't know what we do. And that's why we want to put all this information together and share it with the public in a manner that the public can appreciate that we putting the public funds that we are at our disposal to good use, and we use them to change lives for the better.
And I think that's the perfect core, right? Is for you to also play a part in, holding us accountable and ensuring that all of these things are delivered. It's one thing for us, to sit here and say all of these things, but there needs to be some form of accountability. So please head over to our website. If you have any queries, let us know. It's all about transparency, and this podcast would not be possible without you. So it's very important that you give us your opinions, you give us your thoughts. And of course, if you have any queries, the door's open. Please head over to his office, not ours, his office, and he will be able to touch base with all of that. Thank you so much for your time, for all of the nuggets you've given us. And I'm so excited to see all the amazing opportunities that this Level Up and Get Involved podcast is going to be bringing to you. The website will be on the screen. And of course, the social media is also buzzing. Please connect with us over there as well. Mr. Lehlogonolo Masoga, Administrator at Services SETA, giving us a rollout of what's going to be happening over the next few sessions. You don't want to miss it, I promise. The next few are going to be very insightful. Shall we say goodbye?
Indeed. Great pleasure indeed. And just a parting shot.
Yes.
The fact that the Service SETA has got an administrator doesn't mean that the Service SETA is broken. It's not a broken institution.
Okay.
It's a fully functional institution doing wonders. And please take advantage of what we're offering and change your life for the better.
It's all for you. What are you doing for yourself to develop and
Level
grow?
up.
You can become a part of the sector that's building the future right here with Services SETA on the Level Up podcast. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.